Morning, Paul. How are you?
I'm good, Peter. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good indeed. Thanks. Paul, welcome to the Business Spotlight. Thanks very much for taking the time to chat with me today. Could we start? Could you tell me a little about yourself, your background and your business, please?
Yeah, well, Peter, look, started life as an electrician. I left school, as most people in the 80s, early 90s left school and went on to be a tradesman. So I served my time as an electrician, for 10 or 12 years. And then I don't know if I've seen a gap, or I started seeing more health and safety coming in the construction sites, and health and safety becoming a bigger thing. So I put myself through the NEBOSH General Certificate, paid for myself at the time, but which was at the time was a big challenge because I was just had a young family and new mortgage and that. But anyway, long story short, I put myself through the NEBOSH, trained myself at health and safety officer, manager, health and safety director, and I just grew from that and opened up my own consultancy 4 years ago and haven't looked back, thankfully, Peter.
And what was it? What was it that tipped you over from wanting to diversify from being a trade, a spark by trade into the health and safety?
I suppose one of the first jobs I come across health and safety was one of the Intel plants in Dublin. So I was there as an electrician, and that was the first project where really seen health and safety advisors and health and safety been done right, and inductions been carried out, and toolbox talks and these things. As an electrician, I've seen a couple of serious accidents, and I was involved in a few accidents myself, and it was just nearly seen as there was no basic health and safety when I was on sites as an electrician. And as I say, when I got onto the bigger projects, the Intels that, then I get to start talking to the few health and safety advisors, and had a bit of an interest in it, and then just followed it from that, to be honest.
So tell me a bit about your target market, Paul. You know, who benefits most from working with you and who do you enjoy working with the most?
So if I look at our existing client base, it's probably 70 or 80% construction, and then the rest will be made up of manufacturing, logistics, and recycling. It's really businesses who don't need a full-time health and safety person, but need that health and safety expertise and support. We're like a member of their team, but we're not a full-time employee. So it's businesses that are growing, probably smaller construction companies that are getting bigger, now working with bigger contracts, and need help from the pre-qual end, the method statements, risk assessments, looking more professional, and really just making sure they run a safe business. So we come in as a part of their team. We're not a full-time member of staff, but part of our retainer package is we are part of their business and we're a support to their business. That would be one, and the other would be large construction projects, be this in Northern Ireland, in England, or in Dublin, where it'd be CDM and PSDP, which would be pre-construction design risk management, basically. So they would be the two areas of the business, predominantly, Peter.
And what would you say has been your biggest lesson, Paul, since going out on your own?
The biggest lesson would be is probably just get the right people, building the right people, get the right team around you. Real, first of all, getting the right people around you, really customer service, looking after your customers, being proactive with them, and getting the right people in the right places, and letting them get on with their jobs. So it's we're in a big growth strategy at the minute, and part of my role at the minute is moving from operations more into business growth and that. And part of that is getting key people, right people in the right seats, and letting them get on with it, training them up, and giving them the space to grow and develop. And they will make mistakes. I make mistakes every day of the week, but that's part of the journey we're on. So
And what have you learned most about yourself along the way?
um probably patience. You want to grow fast, you want to do a good service, you want to go at 100 mile an hour. But in our business, a lot of it is about providing, particularly with health and safety, you want to provide a good service to customers, you want good technical support, and be proactive with them and grow at a nice steady pace, putting the proper structures in place. So patience, and then clear communication. The more people you have bringing into the business, just because something's in my head, getting out of my head into a manner they understand, that's clear what direction we're going and what we're trying to do. So patience and communication, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah, great shares. And what if you look back and look at the journey that you've been on, who's influenced you the most along the way?
Well, there's one of my clients, and I won't mention the name, but they're a very, very successful business. They're phenomenal business. But the owners of the business, it's like, isn't it? As the business gets bigger, the problems get bigger, and they're a huge business. But the owner, the business owner's ability to deal with problems and high level problems, but just staying focused and not get distracted by it. And when the problems come in with the deal, just their ability to deal with very, very high level problems and high level issues while understanding what exactly is going on in the business. So just that mindset of being able to deal with high level problems while staying focused and still executing in the business. And then they also never end drive for continuous improvement. Like, this is a phenomenal business, very successful, but they're always looking for further improvement and continuous improvement in their business.
And Paul, it's early January, the decorations are down.
Yeah.
What is it that drives your passion and gets you springing out of bed in the morning for your business?
I suppose I get up in the morning. It's just, look, when you're working from 16 years of age, it's all you know. It's a huge, huge part of my life. It just automatically just get up in the morning and automatically just tune in to go into work. But that's how I'm wired. But I suppose now it's seeing the business grow, seeing the team grow as we're adding in more members of the team and giving them a bit more responsibility, putting our seeing our plan and our strategy being executed and delivering, and just again that continuous improvement, just about making the team better, giving them more responsibility, letting them grow, and letting the business grow, and just executing the growth of the business, but doing it in a controlled way that we're delivering a really, really good service for our clients, Peter.
What would you say it would be? What's your biggest challenge that you're facing at the minute, Paul?
Biggest challenge is, so my role was very, very much operations, and now as the team grows, it's now, as I said, getting the right people in the right seats and mentoring them, developing them, and the transition of my role from working in the business, working on the business to working on the business, and moving from operations to more strategy, business growth, uh, business development, business improvement, them type of things. So that's the transition of that, is what we need to manage very closely, and we're working very hard to manage closely.
And what if you were in the unlikely event you're on a desert island, not Tenerife now, a desert island,
Yeah.
and you had like you could read a book or listen to a podcast, or what would you choose?
Probably something from, well, on holidays there recently, listened to variants. I think maybe Joe Rogan, depending who Joe Rogan would have. Chris Williamson is a very good podcast. And again, it would just depend on the guest. A lot of it would be guest dependent. And then there's a great book that I've read a couple of times, Who Moved My Cheese. I know if you ever heard it. It's
Yeah.
very, very small but very powerful book, very, very powerful. And there's a lot of lessons, and it's nearly something I would try and maybe not read once a year, but I think there's a lot of valuable lessons in it. Just about not sitting still, and the cheese is not always going to be there. So yeah, them type of things. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the cracking book that. And
yeah,
what about if you could invite any three people to a dinner party, anyone at all, who would you
yeah.
invite?
Well, the first one would be my daughter, who's in Australia, to try and get her back from Australia for a while. And she'd be quite opinionated too. So yeah, she wouldn't be long telling me a few things. So my daughter Danielle would be the first one. Dana White, the UFC president, would be another. He's a phenomenal. I'm into jiu-jitsu, and Dana White, I think he's a phenomenal businessman. What he's done with the UFC, just the brand and how they've marketed that, and so Dana White. And then probably from a football point of view, Roy Keane. So obviously very opinionated, and I think it'd be interesting conversations. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he's great.
yeah. On Sky,
Yeah.
his box office on Sky, he's really, really good. Like, yeah, yeah, and just very straight, says it how it is, and that's why they like him on it. So, yeah.
And what about if you could go back in time and dish out some advice to the 18-year-old Paul? I'm guessing that when you were 18, you were about a couple of years into your
During my time
apprenticeship.
and that, yeah. Probably looking taking a leaf out of my daughter's book, travel more. So probably travel. You see a lot of people now. When I was growing up, Peter, it wasn't really a big thing. A few people went to
Mm.
America, but travel more, spend probably a lot of time in my twenties traveling. Trust your instincts. If you feel your time in a business or your time in a relationship in a business is due, don't stay on longer. Just move on. Trust your gut on a lot of issues. There'll be challenges in life. Difficult situations will come up, and you learn very quickly in these difficult situations who's with you and who's not with you. And then I suppose finally, maybe any toxic people or any negative people, remove them out of your life as quick as you can, you know, so don't give them any airtime. And surround yourself with good people, you know.
Yeah, some great advice there. Tell me, let's fast forward now. So another 5 years down the line, what does the business look like then?
The business looks like where I have a, as I say, we put the right people in the right places. We have a strong team in place, a really good culture, proper processes for uh, onboarding new staff, onboarding clients, better processes and people, with a really good name for health and safety expertise, and a really good customer service. Um, People enjoy working in the business, and people want to work in the business. The team feel valued, you know, so that there. And then I'm removing myself out of the business more, maybe looking at business acquisitions, and because within the health and safety and environmental world, there's a lot of different areas you go into fire risk management. There's a lot of different areas. So moving into that more acquisition. So there's a really good team in place, a leadership team in place running the business, and really good service for our clients. I'm not into this commodities as in get loads and loads of clients in, continued steady growth. I've been in business before that I've over traded, and it's not a good place for
Hmm.
anybody, for the clients or for the staff. So really strong business with strong structures, and good people in place, and good processes. Having a good culture and behaviors in the business would be strong, would be important to me. So they would be key things, yeah.
Paul, there's been some great shares here. If somebody likes what they've heard and would like to reach out and get in touch with you or the business, what's the best way for them to go about that?
I suppose that LinkedIn would you would find me on LinkedIn is where I post quite a bit, and try and put out a good bit of content. And then if you go on to paulfeely.com, the website, there's a lot of information there. We're trying to put more case studies and information out on the website. But I would predominantly say LinkedIn would is where you'll find me. The best place to find me,
Excellent.
Peter.
Brilliant. Well, look, Paul Feely from Paul Feely and Associates, thanks very much for taking the time to chat with me today. It's been a great start to the year, and I wish you all the success for 2025 and beyond. Paul, thanks very much indeed.
Peter, thanks very much for having me. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.